Listen to me. You were not born average. You were not created to just exist, to just survive, to clock in and clock out, to drift through life wondering if you'll ever be enough. That's not who you are. That's not who you were born to be. But here's the problem. From the moment you entered this world, something, somewhere started shaping the way you see yourself. They started programming your mind to believe things that were never meant for you. They told you what you couldn't do. They reminded you of your flaws. They highlighted your failures. They made you feel like your voice didn't matter, like your dreams were too big, like your background was too broken. And over time, you started believing it. But I'm here to tell you, it's a lie. Every limitation you've accepted, every label you've carried, every lie you've let define you, that's not your truth. That's not your worth. That's conditioning. That's environment. That's the product of fear and insecurity being passed down to you like it was truth. But just because you were raised in dysfunction doesn't mean you are dysfunction. Just because they didn't see your value doesn't mean it isn't there. Just because life knocked you down doesn't mean you belong on the ground. You didn't come into this world doubting yourself. You didn't come here second guessing your purpose. That was learned. That self-doubt, learned. That hesitation, learned. That feeling of, I'm not enough, that was taught to you. Somewhere along the way, someone convinced you to shrink. Someone convinced you to settle. And now you walk through life wearing a mask that hides the fire inside you. You don't even recognize your own reflection because it's been blurred by years of rejection, comparison, and silence. But deep down, you know there's more. That's why you feel the tension. That's why you can't sit still when you hear someone talk about purpose or greatness. That's why you keep pushing, even when you're tired, even when you want to give up, because something inside you knows you were made for more than this. You were created for something bigger than the life you've been living. That feeling you have, that urge, that whisper, that's your true self trying to rise. That's your worth trying to break through the noise. You were never supposed to fit in. You were never supposed to blend in. You were born to stand out. You were born to lead. But the problem is, you can't step into power when you're still clinging to pain. You can't walk in purpose when your identity is still tied to your wounds. You can't see your worth when you're still looking through the lens of your trauma. So we've got to go back and rip out the lies at the root. Who told you you weren't good enough? Who told you you had to be perfect to be valuable? Who told you that because you messed up? Now you're disqualified because they lied to you. Let me tell you what's real. Your value is not up for debate. Your worth is not based on a report card. It's not tied to your bank account. It's not determined by how many followers you have or how many people validate you. Your worth is intrinsic. It's built in. You were born with it. Nobody can give it to you, and nobody can take it away. But here's the truth. Just because something is in you doesn't mean you're aware of it. And if you don't recognize your value, you'll keep living beneath it. You'll keep accepting relationships that drain you, jobs that devalue you, environments that suffocate you, because you haven't realized that you deserve better. But when you see your worth, everything changes. You start speaking differently. You walk into rooms differently. You make decisions differently. You stop tolerating nonsense because you know who you are. But you got to fight for that awareness. You have to fight against years of negative programming. You have to undo the mental habits that taught you to apologize for being strong. You've got to confront the inner critic that was never yours to begin with. And it's not easy. No, it's not easy to unlearn decades of conditioning. But if you want to step into who you really are, if you want to see the life that's waiting for you, you've got to make that choice. You've got to get up every day and remind yourself, I am worthy. I am enough. I am not what happened to me. I am what I decide to be. You were not born average. That's not your story. That's not your identity. That's not your destiny. Not critics. And I don't care what they said. I don't care who left. I don't care how bad it was. Your beginning does not get to dictate your ending. But you have to choose. You have to wake up and see yourself. Not the broken version. Not the small version. Not the scared version. But the real you. The version that's powerful. The version that's resilient. The version that refuses to settle one more day. You want to change your life. Start by changing the way you see yourself. Because the moment you see your true worth is the moment you stop living like you don't matter. The world don't treat you based on your potential. It treats you based on your presence. You hear what I'm saying. How you show up tells people how to handle you. If you walk in a room like you don't belong, like you're apologizing for being there, like you're unsure of your voice or your value, people respond to that. You train people how to treat you by how you treat yourself. If you see yourself as less, they'll agree. If you move like you don't matter, they'll confirm it. That's the harsh truth. Not because people are cruel, but because most of them aren't watching with eyes. They're watching with energy, with posture, with tone, with how you carry yourself. You ever seen somebody walk in the room and they don't even say a word, but the whole atmosphere shifts? That's not arrogance. That's not ego. That's knowing who you are. And that's the piece too many people never tap into. Not because they don't have it, but because they never practice it. You've got to practice showing up with worth. You've got to rehearse it. Because if you don't learn to value yourself in private, the world will never value you in public. Most people out here are begging for respect they haven't even given themselves. You want the world to recognize your greatness, but you're still minimizing it behind closed doors. You're still doubting your gift. You're still playing small, waiting for someone to validate what's already in you. But let me ask you something. If you don't believe in it, why should they? You've got to get to the place where your identity is no longer on sale. No more discounts. No more shrinking to fit into circles that were never designed for you. You weren't born to blend in. You were born to stand tall. But that starts inside. People will treat you based on the value you place on yourself. That's just how it works. If you carry yourself like your time is valuable, people won't waste it. If you speak like your voice matters, people will listen. If you move with purpose, people won't question why you're there. But let me make it plain, this ain't about faking confidence. This isn't about acting like you got it all together when you don't. This is about alignment. It's about aligning your behavior with your true worth. It's about recognizing the value you bring to the table and refusing to downplay it to make others comfortable. That's what separates those who lead from those who follow. It's not about talent. It's not even about opportunity. It's about posture. It's about the way you carry your gift. Some of you are walking into rooms and giving off an energy that says, I'm just happy to be here. When in reality, you were supposed to run the room. You were supposed to own the space. But your internal self Talk is so weak, so unsure, so wrapped up in fear and past trauma that you walk in timid when you should walk in trusted. Let me tell you, your presence should speak before you open your mouth. People should feel the weight of who you are, not because you're loud, not because you're flashy, but because you believe it. You ever notice how lions don't announce themselves? They walk in and everything shifts. Why? Because of their posture, because of their presence. They know who they are. And when you know who you are, you don't beg for attention. Attention finds you. That's the power of internal worth. It leaks out into everything you do. It's in the way you sit, the way you look people in the eye, the way you speak your name. It's in your tone. It's in your stillness. It's in the way you refuse to beg for a seat because you know you are the table. You can't expect the world to honor a version of you that you haven't even embraced. You've got to stop waiting for applause before you start performing like you matter. You've got to walk in the room and own it, even when your knees are shaking. You've got to stop playing humble in the name of fear. There's a difference between humility and insecurity, and some of you are masking one with the other. You're calling it humble, but really you're just scared. Scared to be seen, scared to fail, scared to be powerful. But let me remind you, nobody can see your worth if you keep hiding it. You've got to be the introduction to your greatness. Let me break something down for you. And I need you to catch this with your heart, not just your head. Your past does not define your worth. I don't care how many times you failed. I don't care who walked out. I don't care what mistakes you made, how many doors closed in your face, or how many times you had to start over. That does not determine your value. That's not who you are. What defines your worth is what you decide to do next. What defines your worth is what you choose in the now. Because your worth isn't in what you lost, it's in how you rise. See, too many of us are walking through life carrying the weight of a story that no longer serves us. We're dragging around chapters that should have been closed, still letting them narrate the rest of the book. You made some bad decisions. So what? Welcome to humanity. You wasted time. Welcome to the club. You trusted the wrong people. We all have. But your mistakes are not your identity. Your pain is not your label. Just because you've been through some dark valleys doesn't mean you don't deserve the mountaintop. In fact, it's the valley that prepares you for the mountain. But here's the thing. Only if you decide to learn from it, not live in it. Some of you are still living in rooms you should have left a long time ago. Still replaying the same regret, still stuck in the same guilt, still beating yourself up for what you didn't know back then. You've been judging yourself from a healed perspective for decisions you made when you were broken. And that's not fair. You did the best you could with what you had at the time. But now you know better. And that means now you can do better. That's where the shift happens. When you stop letting the past put a cap on your future and start making decisions that match the truth of who you are, not the wounds of who you used to be. Your worth is not something you earn after you've been perfect. Your worth is not some prize you unlock after you've done everything right. It's there right now. It's been there the whole time. You just couldn't see it because pain got in the way. Shame got in the way. The opinions of others got in the way. But deep down, there's a version of you that's always known. That's why you haven't given up. That's why, even after all the storms, something inside you kept fighting. Because your worth isn't gone. It's just been buried under all the lies you believed. And the lie that hits the hardest, the one that says because you messed up, because you failed, because you broke something, now you're broken. That now you're not worthy of love, of opportunity, of respect, of purpose. But I'm telling you right now, you are not disqualified. In fact, your story gives you power. Your pain gives you depth. Your failure gives you perspective. The same things that tried to destroy you are the things that are going to elevate you if you decide to stop hiding behind them and start learning from them. But it's a decision. Every day, it's a decision. You've got to wake up and decide to believe a new story. You've got to decide that the past no longer has authority over your worth. You've got to decide that your next move is going to be built on who you're becoming, not what you've been through. And that's not easy. I'm not going to lie to you. It takes discipline. It takes courage. It takes staring your guilt and shame in the face and saying, you don't own me anymore. And you do that through your choices, through your actions, not through wishful thinking, not through waiting for somebody to come validate you. You reclaim your worth by showing up in your decisions. You say you're valuable, then act like it. Say no to what drains you. Say yes to growth. Walk away from anything that insults your spirit. Invest in your mind. Protect your peace. Speak up for yourself. That's how you show the world you know what you're worth. Not by what you say, but by how you live. It's not about perfection. It's about progression. You don't need to have it all figured out. You don't need to fix your whole life overnight. What you need is one powerful decision, followed by another, and then another. Each one made from a place of self-respect. Each one a step away from the lies and closer to your truth. That's how you rise. That's how you rebuild. That's how you remind yourself who you really are. I'm talking to the one who feels like it's too late. The one who feels like they've messed up too much. The one who keeps replaying that one moment, that one season, that one mistake. Let it go. It's done. It's over. And it doesn't get to dictate your future unless you let it. You still have breath in your body. That means purpose is still in your bones. That means redemption is still on the table. That means you can still choose differently. But you've got to stop waiting for the feeling. You've got to move even when you don't feel worthy. Because sometimes your actions have to lead your emotions. Sometimes you have to walk like you believe before the belief fully settles in your spirit. That's the process. That's how transformation begins. And the more you walk in your worth, the more your mind begins to believe it, the more your environment begins to shift, the more your future starts to align with who you really are. So no, your past does not define you. Your decisions do. Not the ones you regret, but the ones you make now. In this moment, that's where your power lies. That's where your freedom begins. Not in wishing the past was different, but in deciding the future will be. And that starts when you finally stop letting the pain narrate your identity and start building from your truth. Because you were never the mistake. You were always the miracle. You'll only go as far as you see yourself going. That's the truth. You can have all the talent in the world, all the resources, all the opportunities, but if your mind doesn't believe you deserve it, if your vision doesn't stretch far enough, you're going to self-sabotage every single time. You can pray for it, wish for it, grind for it, but if deep down you still see yourself as small, as broken, as not enough, then no matter how close you get to the door, you'll never walk through it. Because the door might be open, but your mindset will keep you locked out. It's not your environment. It's not your upbringing. It's not even the adversity that's holding you back. It's the lens you've been looking through. It's that voice that keeps whispering, "Who do you think you are?" It's that fear that tells you if you shine too bright, people will walk away. It's that doubt that says, "You've never done this before. Why do you think you can start now?" And here's the thing. Those voices are loud when your vision is weak. When you can't see past your current circumstance, you start thinking your current circumstance is who you are. But that's a lie. That's a trap. And if you don't learn to challenge it, if you don't learn to push back, you'll live the rest of your life in a cage you never realized you built yourself. It's not the outside world holding you down. It's the story playing inside your head. You were designed to soar, but you've been flying in circles because you don't believe you were built for altitude. You keep bumping into the same ceiling, not because you're incapable, but because you never stopped to ask yourself if the ceiling was real. You know what's crazy? Some of y'all are operating at 40%, 50%, and the people around you are clapping like you're doing something. They think you're on fire, but deep down, you know, that's not even close to what you're capable of, not critics. And the reason you haven't tapped into the rest isn't because you don't have it in you. It's because you've never seen yourself there. You've never allowed yourself to truly visualize the next level. You've been so busy surviving that you've forgotten how to dream. And I'm not talking about just dreaming with your eyes closed. I'm talking about walking through life with vision, with intention, with a picture in your spirit of where you're going. Because if you don't see it, you can't seize it. If you don't believe it's for you, you'll walk right past it. You'll talk yourself out of it. You'll convince yourself that it's meant for someone else. And you'll stay stuck in a loop, grinding but not growing, moving but not progressing. I need you to understand this. Life doesn't respond to who you pretend to be. It responds to who you believe you are. You want people to treat you different. Start carrying yourself like someone who knows where they're going. Start moving with clarity. Start showing up every day like you're already living on the level you're reaching for. Because the shift doesn't happen after you arrive. It starts before you even get there. Some of y'all are waiting for the confidence to come before you act. Waiting to feel worthy before you try. Waiting to feel qualified before you start. But let me tell you something. The feeling follows the action. You've got to step into it before you feel ready. You've got to move like someone who belongs in the room before the room even notices you. Because when you start seeing yourself right, you start doing things differently. You speak differently. You make decisions differently. You stop entertaining things that don't match your future. You've got to stop shrinking your vision to fit your reality and start stretching your reality to match your vision. You've got to stop saying one day and start saying today, I prepare. Stop waiting for the stars to align. Stop waiting for someone to give you permission. Stop waiting for the fear to disappear. It won't. You have to do it scared. You have to do it unsure. You have to take the step even when you can't see the staircase. Because the truth is, your next level is waiting. But it's waiting on you to see yourself there first. You've got to train your mind to see the version of you that already exists in potential. The version of you that's disciplined. The version of you that walks in peace. The version of you that doesn't chase validation because they know they bring value. And every day, you've got to fight to make decisions that align with that version. not with the fear, not with the past, but with the person you're becoming. You can't afford to keep living small just because it's familiar. You can't keep hiding your gift because you're afraid of being seen. You can't keep dimming your light because it makes others uncomfortable. You've got to see yourself in the light of your purpose. You've got to see yourself beyond the pain, beyond the past, beyond the pressure. Because when you finally catch that vision, when you finally see yourself the way you were created to be, it's over. It's done. You stop playing with your calling. You stop negotiating with your worth. You stop showing up like an option and start showing up like the answer. And don't think for a second that people won't notice the difference. When you walk in vision, people treat you different, not because you said anything, but because your energy changed, your posture changed, your tone changed. You're not walking around hoping for favor. You're walking like you already have it. That's what happens when you finally stop seeing yourself as a problem and start seeing yourself as the solution. Because the truth is, the moment you upgrade the way you see yourself, your entire life upgrades with it.